Alright, today we're going to be covering 10 times players used illegal or unethical items in Pokemon. Now we're starting off with Battle Frontier trainers using Bright Powder. Now this might not seem malicious at first, but many Battle Tower / Battle Frontier trainers have Bright Powder plus evasion moves, which is illegal in online and competitive play. Bright Powder is an item that reduces an opponent's accuracy by 10%. However, if you use it with evasion moves that reduce their accuracy even more, it can be a devastating combination, which is why it's been banned. For example, many NPCs in the Battle Frontier will have a Pokemon who uses Double Team or Minimize, and the Pokemon will be holding Bright Powder, making it almost impossible to hit them. Now this combination isn't universally banned, but it's very frowned upon, and some examples of trainers who use it include Pokefan Peyton, who uses a Bulbasaur equipped with Bright Powder, who can also use Sleep Powder. There's also Hex Maniac Delilah, who uses a Gengar equipped with Bright Powder and moves like Confuse Ray and Spite, making it very difficult to hit. And also there's youngster Zachary, who has the exact combination we just described. His Vileplume has Double Team and Bright Powder, making it unfair for competitive play. After this we have the gym leaders Blaine and Flannery, who may be giving their Pokemon illicit substances. In Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, gym leader Blaine outfits his entire team with white herbs, which they're holding. A white herb is an item that immediately restores any lowered stats once per battle. Now while it might seem like a strategic choice, the real question is, what exactly is a white herb? The name alone raises some eyebrows. Are Blaine's Pokemon really just chewing on medicinal plants, or is there something more to it? Given Blaine's obsession with fire and his exile to the Seafoam Islands, it wouldn't be that surprising if he's resorted to cooking up a little something while he's over there. It also doesn't help his case that these white herbs erase the exhaustion from his Pokemon, something that's very typical of certain substances. But if you thought Blaine was the only one using these herbs, you'd be wrong, because in Pokemon Emerald, Flannery's rematch team also comes armed with all these white herbs. And the context makes it even more suspicious, because after suffering a humiliating loss to you in her first battle with you, she comes back with these white herbs on all her team, and you rematch her. So it seems like she's lost to you, and now she's willing to do anything to beat you. Her Pokemon now are equipped with this mysterious white herb that can keep them fighting at full strength. Whether or not these herbs are illegal remains a mystery, but the fact that only fire-type gym leaders use them, considering the fact that what you do with herb is you typically smoke it or you burn it. So I think it's a pretty fun conspiracy. After this, we have the well-known Slowpoke tales. In Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, as well as their remakes Heart Gold and Soul Silver, there is an NPC who will sell you a Slowpoke tail for 10,000 Pokédollars. This item, however, is not normally obtainable through legal means in the game. There's also some ethical concerns on how he got it, because in the story, Team Rocket is depicted as poaching Slowpokes for their tails and selling them in Azalea Town, which is pretty illegal. The sale of Slowpoke tails is considered a major crime in Johto, and the fact that this guy's selling you some raises some eyebrows. But technically, you can't do anything illegal in these games, because the amount of money required to purchase one is greater than the amount of money you can possess in the game. So while this dude might be arrested by Officer Jenny, you're free from all the blame. Now we're moving on to Koga, who uses biological waste in his battle. Now Koga's a gym leader in the Kanto region, and in these games, his mug holds Black Sludge, an item that restores health to poison-type Pokemon, but each turn, if it's held by a non-poison type, it will damage them. This strategic choice basically helps Muck throughout the battle. However, the fact that it damages non-poison types and helps poison types suggests that it's actually biological waste. It's some sort of contaminant that Muck is holding. I mean, it's the same concept as leftovers, but the nature of Black Sludge raises some ethical and environmental concerns, because unlike leftovers, which are described as simple leftover food, Black Sludge is exactly what it sounds like: toxic waste. Why is Muck consuming hazardous material to regain health? More importantly, why is Koga holding all this biological waste and giving it to his Pokemon to strengthen them? And also, where is he getting this stuff from? It seems funny, but I can imagine Koga sneaking into a waste yard at night and harvesting some of that black sludge that collects down by the trash. Doesn't seem like a normal activity for a gym leader, to say the least. Next, we have young Brandon, who gives his Pokemon a suspicious white powder. In Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, Bug Maniac Brandon has a Masquerain holding Silver Powder, an item that supposedly boosts the power of bug-type moves. But let's be real, what kind of silver powder is this? Powder that enhances performance, makes movements sharper, reactions quicker, and somehow makes bug-type attacks hit harder? Sounds less like a battle item and more like a finely grounded stimulant that gives your Pokemon that extra edge to them. This is pretty interesting to say the least, because Brandon is called a bug maniac. And what are maniacs known for? Going over the edge, going over the top a little bit. And suddenly he's giving his Pokemon this silvery white powder that makes Masquerain hyper aggressive and super strong. It's almost as if this silvery white powder is something that can be found in Colombia. It's almost like it's a class A substance he's given his Pokemon to become stronger. Next, we have the radio signal machine. Now, while we have had our fair share of conspiracies this video, this next one is without a doubt illegal. In Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, Team Rocket pulls off one of their most messed up experiments, the radio signal machine at the Lake of Rage. This thing blasts out a weird frequency that forces Pokemon to evolve, completely skipping natural evolution. Normally, a Pokemon evolves when it's ready, after battles, experiences, and time spent with this trainer. But this time they just crank up the radio frequency machine and boom, a Pokemon just evolves like that. And that's how you get the raging red Gyarados at the Lake of Rage. Now, without a doubt, the radio frequency machine is an illicit item because evolution is supposed to be a milestone, something earned by experience, not something hijacked by a sketchy radio frequency device. What's stopping someone from forcing their Magikarp to evolve the second they catch it? Anyway, if you play the games, you stop Team Rocket, destroy their whole operation, and you get to catch the Gyarados. But still, it doesn't mean what they did was ethical or legal. After this, we have the Dubious Disc. Now, the Dubious Disc is exactly what it sounds like. It's shady, unverified software for your Pokemon. It can only be described as illegal malware, and when you give this sketchy upgrade to Porygon 2, it evolves into Porygon Z, but something clearly goes wrong in the process. According to the Pokedex, Porygon Z starts acting erratic, glitchy, and unstable, as if some questionable third-party software is corrupting its programming. Like someone tried to install a bootleg OS, and now the system's bugged beyond repair. But the real question is, who made this disc, and why is it even in circulation in the first place? I mean, basically it's malware disguised as an evolution tool. Whether it's a failed experiment, or a deliberate hack, or a virus, this item is definitely suspicious. Moving on from that, we have another unethical item, the Sticky Barb. Now, the Sticky Barb is by no means banned, but it's one of those items that makes you think, is this really fair to use on my Pokemon? Because unlike other held items that provide boosts or advantages, this one actively hurts your Pokemon. It chips away at their HP every single turn. The only real strategy behind it is hoping that an opponent makes contact and picks it up instead, passing the damage onto them. And it deals a lot of damage. It takes 12.5% of your Pokemon's HP away every single turn. It's like giving your Pokemon spikes to hold and hoping that the spikes somehow end up in the other Pokemon's hands. I guess you could say it has its uses from a competitive standpoint. You can trick the opponent into taking damage, but when you think about it, it's one of the only items in the game that directly harms the user without any immediate benefit. Because other items like the Life Orb at least provide a power boost, but the Sticky Barb, it just drains your HP with no strings attached. As for how you acquire it, you can get the Sticky Barb from an NPC on the 5th floor of the Veilstone department store in Pokemon Platinum, or Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Finally, we're moving on to the only legal item that the player actually uses, the Berserk Gene. Now, the Berserk Gene is one of the weirdest and most forgotten items in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. It's found near the ruins of Cerulean Cave, and this item immediately maxes out a Pokemon's attack stat when it enters battle. But there's a catch. It inflicts confusion that lasts an absurd amount of turns. Another interesting thing is it's not really found in any other games. It's not really allowed in any other tournaments, so if you're a player using it, you're holding onto something that's effectively only there in Gen 2. It's clear Game Freak wanted the thing gone from existence because they included no mention of it and basically wiped away the history. It's kind of the Pokemon equivalent of using some genetic performance enhancing substance that got banned before anyone could figure out how the hell it works. And another thing you might want to be aware of if you're using this in battles is that it was developed by Team Rocket and probably not by ethical means. The direct Japanese translation of the item means destructive gene, so I think twice before using it. Anyway, those were 10 items in the games that why they're illegal or unethical. If you liked the video, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.